Now on CoastTV News.
Funding fight finished. How billions of education dollars that were withheld now have a clear path to Delaware.
Ocean vacation slump. We look at an alarming decline for one of the coast's biggest tourist towns.
Pony Prep, the events leading up to the Centennial Chincoteague Pony Swim.
Hot days ahead for Delmarva through midweek with temperatures in the 90s. Feels like temperatures into the triple digits. However, relief as we head into the end of the week. Details coming up.
This is CoastTV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Monday, July 28th, 2025.
And I know plenty of people are excited about the pony swim and all the festivities that go with it.
Hard to believe it's just 2 days away because I always feel like the pony swim, I'm like, all right, there's like a little over half.
We start
of summer
talking about
left.
preparation, how we're going to cover it, maybe May and June, but we're like, that's weeks away.
No,
well, it's here.
I saw someone say they were like, October is going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Yeah.
I believe them, but Bob, those temperatures are not feeling like October, that's for sure.
No, not even close, Elisa. Good morning to you and Matt. And the weather for the pony swim is looking good. Similar to this with 70s, I believe, and clear skies. And that's what we're seeing this morning. 75 at Georgetown, 76 in Lewis and Bethany Beach. Willard's at 74. Dew point temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Still a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. That's going to continue today. Although the winds are shifting to the north, we have a weak cold front sliding through, and we're looking at clear skies all across Delmarva. But the thing is, the air mass doesn't change behind the front. It's the same. So it's going to be muggy and it's going to be hot as high pressure builds in from the west as we're looking at a lot of sunshine through the day. Heat advisories in effect from northern Delaware to Philly and New York, and then to our south and west. We do not have one over us because I think heat index values will be below the heat advisory criteria, which is about 105 degrees. Here's Futurecast. We're looking at temperatures in the 70s this morning, maybe a little bit of a haze. Then that burns off to lots of sunshine, and by noon we're in the upper 80s to close to 90, around 82 in Ocean City, 78 Dewey Beach, and then by 2:30, 90 in Lewis, 91 in Rehoboth, lower 90s inland areas. So it's going to be awfully hot even at the coast, and feels like temperatures flirting with 100 around Salisbury to Millsboro, with upper 80s and lower 90s at the beaches. That sand's going to be hot. And your ferry riding forecast should be a smooth ride up to Cape May, light northerly breeze. Temperatures warming through the 80s this morning into this afternoon with lots of sunshine.
All right, thanks, Bob. And our top story this hour, billions of education dollars getting released, and some of that is heading to Delaware. According to the Federal Department of Education, the money was previously withheld as part of a spending review ordered by the White House. That move faced legal challenges, including a lawsuit by Delaware and other states. The money was already approved by Congress and signed into law by President Trump earlier this year.
Governor Matt Meyer is responding to the news in a post to his Facebook page. The governor says, in part, quote, Delaware students and teachers deserve every dollar promised, and today we delivered for them. According to Meyer, the state will receive $28 million from this newly released funding.
This morning we're learning about some concerning economic numbers for Ocean City, and they're found in a tourism report. The most recent data is through May of this year, and when you compare that to previous years, there's about a drop of nearly 250,000 people visiting the town. But according to Tom Perlazzo, the Ocean City Tourism and Business Development Director, he says those numbers come from a third party, and according to their report, revenue for occupancy in the town slightly increased compared to last May.
I don't think that report is 100% accurate. We do feel like that May was a great season, great event this year. We had a great, third concert, the Boardwalk Rock.
Perlazzo tells CoastTV News that he and his team are developing plans to help Ocean City's tourism economy.
Early voting continues today in Sussex County. This is for District 20's special election. People can head to the polls anytime from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on July 28th and the 29th. From July 30th to August 3rd, early voting will run from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. This will take place at Lewis Elementary and Mariner Middle Schools. Election day is August 5th with polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And this is the area we are talking about on your screen right now is a map of District 20. The area covers Milton, parts of Lewis, Harbison, and Georgetown.
Officials are continuing to investigate what they call a hazmat incident that took place in Baltimore. At least 4 people hospitalized on Sunday. Fire officials were called to the scene on Wycomico Street at a poultry processing facility. This was shortly before 5 p.m., and there were about 100 employees on the scene at that time. 10 people needed medical assistance.
Later tonight, the possible finalization of the pay scale for Milford's fiscal year 2026. The range is nearly $36,500 to over $228,000. This is happening as we're nearly a month into the new fiscal year. The city manager position is listed at the top of the scale. Tonight's city council meeting will take place at 6 o'clock.
Happening today, possible clarity on power outages in Lewis. The city and the Lewis Board of Public Works are set to address the string of recent power outages BPW locals experienced in June. This meeting is taking place at 1 p.m. at the Margaret H. Rollins Center, and BPW and city are also discussing future goals and projects.
Also happening today in Lewis, a presentation from the 4th Street Preserve. According to the agenda, officials will gather at the City Council meeting to discuss that project. Organizers are expected to deliver a briefing on the topic, and officials will hear a presentation from the Greater Lewis Foundation. Tonight's meeting will take place at 5:30.
Sunday was day 2 of the Pony Roundup. It was another bright and early morning for the Saltwater Cowboys as they rounded up about 100 adult ponies and foals on the northern side of Assateague into the Northern Corral. And today, that's the beach walk. That's set to start, well, it's supposed to start a couple of minutes ago, actually. And that is where these northern ponies are brought to join the Southern Corral and get ready for that big swim.
This was Saturday morning when it was the Southern herd's turn for their roundup. The Saltwater Cowboys began near the lighthouse and led the ponies through the woods and marsh into the Southern Corral. Every year, this takes about an hour and a half to complete.
And the countdown is on to that pony swim. Chincoteague officials say several roads will close early for the event on Wednesday. Beebe and Bunting roads close at 4 a.m. Willow Street, that's south of Jester, at 5 a.m. And Ridge Road, south of Bunting, will shut down 1 hour before the swim, and these closures will remain in place for an extended period, and only bikes and pedestrians will be allowed. Get ready for the Eastern Shore's most iconic traditions, the Chincoteague Pony Swim. You can watch live as the Saltwater Cowboys guide the wild ponies across the Assateague Channel to Chincoteague Island. Coverage begins at 7 a.m. on Wednesday on the Delmarva Sports Network and anywhere on DSM+. Don't miss the tradition, the excitement, and the magic of the pony swim, only on DSN.
New this morning, Bridgeville officials are set to review plans for 2026. According to the agenda for the commission workshop, officials will review the fiscal year 2026 budget. This includes capital projects and updates. Also on the agenda, discussion on what officials call the 302 Market Street Tour. Officials will gather today at 5 p.m. at the Bridgeville Public Library. We're
now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. President Trump is not there. He's overseas and expected to meet the UK Prime Minister today to talk trade. On Sunday, he announced a trade agreement with the European Union that would set tariffs at 15%, ending what had been months of uncertainty surrounding trade with the United States' largest trade partner.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us what to expect from those talks with world leaders today as the August deadlines quickly approach.
After months of tense tariff threats, a highly anticipated deal between top trading partners, the United States, and the 27 nations of the European Union.
It's the biggest of all the deals. Thank you very much.
The agreement reached at President Trump's private club in Scotland sets 15% tariffs on most European goods entering the U.S. The European Commission president emphasizing stability.
It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
She underscored the improvement from the 30% import tax President Trump had threatened, while acknowledging it's still a real cost.
15% is not to be underestimated, but it is the best we could get.
The rate does apply to European cars, but there are exceptions, including no tariffs on aircraft parts, certain generic drugs, and some agricultural products. As details are hammered out, no word yet on rates for in-demand European wines. President Trump says the EU will not impose tariffs on U.S. imports and will purchase $750 billion worth of American energy while investing an additional $600 billion into the U.S.
And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment.
It comes ahead of an August 1st deadline when countries that haven't reached a deal will see higher tariffs, forcing U.S. businesses that import materials from abroad to absorb more added costs.
It's a lot to shoulder for small business owners.
Or pass them along to consumers. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up, Coast TV News Today, summer's sweetest fruit festival, why one Delmarva business owner says it's important to shop local.
Also, call for better cell service, how connection could improve in Ocean Pines.
And donation tax details, we'll tell you about new IRS changes to charitable donations that are set to go into effect next year. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
6:13 on our Monday morning. The sun is up, but it's behind this cloud right here. Low clouds over Delaware Bay right now, 76. But we're looking at a hot and humid day, and temperatures across the board right now into the mid-70s from Seaford to Bethany Beach and Lewis as well. And we've got dew points in the 70s, indicating very muggy air. That's not going to change, although the wind's shifting to the north. We have a weak cold front coming through, but we're not going to see an air mass change across that front. So it's going to remain warm to hot and muggy as we go through the day as high pressure builds in. Today's checklist: don't need the umbrella for the rain. Maybe you need it to keep the sun away. Dress for hot weather, take frequent breaks, and make sure you stay hydrated with water. Have that higher SPF sunscreen, and make sure you have the shades. More on this current heat wave coming up in my full forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Bob. Happening today in Long Neck, Chief Road will be closed starting at 7 a.m. On your screen right now is the stretch of road that's closed between River Road and Oak Orchard Road. This will last through Thursday, July 31st at 6 p.m. Delduck crews will complete underground utility work at the intersection of Norwood Lane, including installing new pipes, a manhole, and isolation valves.
Road work also beginning today in Salisbury. The city says traffic signal upgrades will begin at East Main Street and Snow Hill Road, as well as East Main and Ward Street. On your screen, we are showing you where crews are working daily from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is through August 1st, weather permitting. According to officials, roads will stay open, but flagging operations could cause delays. Drivers are encouraged to use Route 50 or Route 13 to avoid congestion in the work zone.
New tax rules for charitable donations are ahead. Starting next year, how you donate will affect your tax break deductions. Standard deduction filers can write off up to $1,000 in cash gifts, $2,000 for joint filers. That's double the old pandemic-era limit. The new tax rules are set to take effect in 2026.
Animal rescues and shelters across the country are reporting sharp increases in animals being surrendered. A number of shelters say the shift is due to financial hardship. Every aspect of owning a pet, from vet visits and food to beds, treats, and toys, has grown expensive in recent years.
Still ahead on Coast TV News Today, call for better service. We'll tell you what officials are working on to bring better cell phone service to Ocean Pines.
And live look into Lewis once again, showing some low clouds, the sun behind those clouds, and it's going to be a hot sun today through midweek with hot days ahead with temperatures in the 90s. Feels like temperatures in the triple digits. However, relief for the end of the week and a beautiful start to August. Your forecast details in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 6:18, and we're getting a live look now at the orange glow of the early morning hours at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewis. And Bob, we're hoping not only for good weather today, but also good weather, maybe just dry weather for the pony swim.
Yeah, and I think we're looking at exactly that, Matt. I think we're looking at dry conditions as we go into Wednesday morning for the big Pony Swim, the 100th Chincoteague Pony Swim, and you can catch all the action on DSN and DSN Plus. Coverage begins at 7 a.m. I think in the morning hours we're looking at temperatures in the mid-70s, but by afternoon around 87 with a mix of sun and clouds. But if you're headed to Chincoteague for the festivities, looking pretty good weather-wise for late July. But it's going to be hot in the afternoons. Hazy, hot, and humid Monday through Wednesday. Stifling heat indices around 100 today and about 110 in some places by Wednesday, with temperatures around 92 to 97. You're going to want to stay hydrated with water, find a nice cool place, take frequent breaks. Late week is looking stormy. We've got a cold front coming through on Thursday. Big cool down and comfortable into next weekend, a gorgeous first weekend of August. Right now it's 74 in Salisbury out the door, Long Neck 74, Lewis 76, Ocean Pines at 74, dew point temperatures in the 70s. Anytime you see dew points in the 72 to 75 degree range, that's a lot of humidity. Now we have a northerly breeze. We actually have a cold front coming through, but this cold front is not the leading edge to cooler and drier air. It's the same air mass basically ahead of the front and behind the front. So basically it's going to be sunny and humid as we go through the afternoon with high pressure building in. And as this high kind of percolates across the East Coast, we're going to have high pressure both at the surface and aloft, and that's going to mean sinking air and a lot of heat in the days to come. This morning we could see a few areas of low clouds, especially along the coast, but then that'll burn off by later this morning as temperatures quickly rise to the 80s to close to 90 by noon, and then 80s at the beaches, and then low 90s, even some mid-90s well inland by 3:30, 94 in Salisbury, and then 80s and 90s from Lewis up to Rehoboth, and then warm and muggy as we go through the evening hours. And by Tuesday morning, lower 70s, and then I think we crank up those temperatures just a little more into Tuesday with low to mid 90s inland, a little cooler at the beaches, so to speak. And then Wednesday, I think, is the hottest day. Even though we have clouds in the morning, I think we shoot up to about 93 to 95 Wednesday afternoon. A little bit of relief at the coast, but not all that much, as we have feels like temperatures near 100 this afternoon away from the beaches, and then 80s and 90s at the coast, and feels like temperatures around 102 to maybe 104 on Tuesday, low to mid 90s at the beaches. I think the worst day is Wednesday, feeling at least like 105, maybe as high as 108 with 90s at the beaches. So definitely take care in this heat, as it's very humid the next several days. But look at this nice drop off into the comfy range Friday into Saturday as a refreshing air mass builds in. But ahead of that, I think we'll see showers and storms later Thursday and into Friday. Friday could be a wet day, and those showers could linger for a time as we have a slow moving system, and then high pressure builds in for the weekend. Low humidity, dew points in the 50s and 60s, comfortable and pleasant. 93 in Harrington and Dover today, hot and humid. 91 in Cambridge, Vienna 92, and then 92 in Prentice and 89 in Crisfield. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast, just hot through midweek with mid 90s, and then cooler Thursday, 88 with showers and storms, and then some showers on Friday with a high of 79, and then comfortable overnight lows, gorgeous 60s, in fact down to 62 by Sunday morning. 78 on Saturday, 81 on Sunday. So the weekend looking really nice, just hot until we get there.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Tonight, Ocean Pines answering the call for better cell service. People can learn about a proposal for a new tower. It's right in the middle of the community. We actually have the renderings we're going to show you here on your screen for the cell tower. The location is at the Ocean Pines Golf Course. That Ocean Pines Virtual Town Hall is scheduled tonight at 6.
Up next on Coast TV News today, summer's sweetest fruit festival will show you all the activities at this year's Peaches by the Beaches Festival in Milton. Coast TV will be right back. This weekend, Milton celebrated summer's sweetest fruit at the Peaches by the Beaches Festival. Visitors enjoyed fresh peaches, desserts, and cocktails, along with family fun, including a petting zoo, inflatables, and over 80 vendors. Food trucks lined the streets, and some dogs even found their forever homes with on-site adoptions.
It turned out to be a nice day. I think everyone got scared for the weather because a couple days ago it was supposed to be like 95 and pure sun, but now it's kind of nice breeze and overcast. Support your local people. We all are trying to do our best, and everyone helping each other makes it go a little bit better, like these events.
Event organizers say they had over 70 vendors and crafters at the event. And it's going to be a clear day for the beaches, but it's also going to be really hot outside.
Yeah, I just asked Bob during the break, and it sounds like we're not going to have much of a breeze at the beach today, but hey, at least your umbrellas are not in danger of flying off.
That's true.
No, they're not. No, because the winds are going to be light, but you're going to go from the hot sand to the relatively warm Atlantic Ocean water, which is in the mid-70s now. Assateague and Chincoteague, I think we're in the low to mid-80s this afternoon. Lots of sunshine. UV index is extreme. Waves around 1 to 2 feet. Fenwick Island, mid-80s for you. Maybe a little cooler, more sunshine in Ocean City with lower 80s. On the Bayside, hot the next 3 days in Cambridge. 93 today and then mid-90s Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to be a scorcher. And Crisfield, you might be just a hair cooler, around 90 Monday through Wednesday, but it's still going to be hot in a lot of places, feeling like triple digit with the humidity. Maybe a little bit of relief at the coast, and then a lot of relief by the end of the week as we head into the first weekend of August. More on your forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, trade talks amid tariff deadlines. What is expected as President Trump meets with world leaders this week?
Also, tale of tourism reports, the concern over visitation slowdown in Ocean City, and why there's actually some pushback against recent data.
And funds finally released. What prohibited the release of billions in federal education funds, and what Governor Meyer is saying as they now make their way to Delaware. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Lack of boardwalk buzz, the data showing a tourism decline in Ocean City, and those who are disputing that report.
Classroom Cash, a dispute over federal education dollars ends, the clear path for funding in Delaware, and the reaction from Governor Matt Meyer.
Army Center update. Months after an environmental study, Lewis officials get the latest on converting the old facility into a municipal complex.
Hot days ahead for Delmarva through midweek with temperatures in the 90s. Feels like temperatures into the triple digits. However, relief as we head into the end of the week. Details coming up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
July 28th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
And it is 6:30. We're talking about July winding down.
Quickly.
How about the fact that the first NFL exhibition game is Thursday, and it's actually here on Coast TV?
I'm excited for football. There's only so much baseball I can watch.
Really?
Yes. It's a long baseball season. Need some other sports to break it up. My brother was watching golf this weekend. I don't know.
No NASCAR?
No, sorry to disappoint, but I know Bob might be excited for football.
Oh, I know he is. No, he's not. Yes,
More so for baseball, for obvious reasons, for my Mets. For the Jets, maybe, we'll see. Guarded optimism. Temperatures out the door this morning are mild into the mid-70s, 72 in Laurel, 75 Georgetown, 76 Ira Inlet and Rehoboth right now. And it's muggy. We've got dew points in the low to mid-70s. That's not going to change. Now, the winds have shifted to the north, and we're looking at a weak cold front dropping in. But the thing is, there's no real air mass change before ahead of the front or behind the front. So it's just going to remain hot and steamy as high pressure is building in from the west with lots of clear skies. So I think we will be looking at lots of sunshine. There is a heat advisory to our south and west through Virginia and then back through Philly and New York, but not over the top of us. They do have one in Dover up towards Newark and Wilmington, but I don't think our criteria is quite there for a heat advisory today. That probably changes tomorrow and Wednesday. Some haze early this morning burns off the sunshine with temperatures quickly rising through the 80s by noon. 89 in Seaford, 90 in Salisbury. A little cooler at the beaches by 2:30, about 83 at Bethany Beach, 78 Dewey Beach, 90 in Lewis, 92 in Seaford and Millsboro. It's going to be hot with temperatures lower 90s inland areas and then 80s and 90s at the coast. And then you factor in the humidity, feeling like close to 100 away from the beaches later this afternoon with upper 80s and lower 90s at the coast. Drivecast this morning looking pretty good. I gave the green light for clear and dry conditions, but then the red light for a hot car. So make sure you have that foily thing to put in your windshield later on. It's going to be hot, so take care out there. And it stays hot the next few days before a cool down. More on that coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Our top story this half hour, billions in education funding are headed to Delaware. And according to the Federal Department of Education, the agency is releasing billions in previously withheld grant money. The money was frozen on July 1st as part of a spending review ordered by the White House. The move faced legal challenges, including a lawsuit Delaware and other states filed against it. The funding had already been approved by Congress and signed into law by President Trump earlier this year.
And Governor Matt Meyer is responding to the news in a post to his Facebook page. The governor says, in part, quote, "Delaware students and teachers deserve every dollar promised, and we delivered for them," end quote. According to Meyer, the state will receive $28 million from this newly released funding.
Here's a live look at Ocean City on this Monday morning. And for this Worcester County coastal town, there are just a few weeks left in the busy tourism season. And new this morning, there are some concerning economic numbers for Ocean City. They found in a tourism report. The most recent data is through May of this year. Now, when compared to previous years, there is a drop in nearly 250,000 people visiting the town. But according to Tom Perlazzo, the Ocean City Tourism and Business Development Director, he says those numbers come from a third party. And according to their report, revenue for occupancy in town slightly increased compared to last May.
I don't think that report is 100% accurate. We do feel like that May was a great season, great event this year. We had a great, third concert, the Boardwalk Rock.
And Perlazzo tells CoastTV News that he and his team are developing plans to help Ocean City's tourism economy.
Strong storms moved through parts of Minnesota over the weekend. It caused flooding in several areas. A flash flood warning was issued for parts of the state. Remains in effect until later this morning, and officials say thousands were left without power. Streets became flooded, causing difficulty for motorists, as you can see in some areas.
Later tonight, the possibility of the pay scale for Milford's fiscal year 2026. The range is nearly $36,500 to over $228,000. This is happening as we're nearly a month into the new fiscal year. The city manager position is listed at the top of the scale, and tonight's city council meeting is at 6 o'clock. Happening today, we should learn more about the city of Lewis's plans for converting the old Army Center on Savannah Road into a municipal complex. In the spring, the city completed phase 1 of an environmental study. That was a test for contamination and hazardous materials. What we do know is that the building will serve as a combined complex for the city, the police, and the Board of Public Works. The board and other city officials, they're expected to receive an update on the project at a meeting set for 1 p.m. today. Also at that meeting, addressing a string of power outages BPW residents experienced in June, the BPW and city are also discussing future goals and projects. This will take place at the Margaret H. Rollins Center. We're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. Today, the Trump administration holding talks with two countries. This is ahead of trade deadlines early next month. It includes meetings with the UK Prime Minister in Scotland. The White House says they'll refine a trade deal outline that they signed last month. European Union countries are considering whether to approve a framework, which Trump and the EU Commission president unveiled yesterday.
I don't think the countries that are not going to go along with this are going to have a choice because they're between Iraq and Donald Trump. Analysts say the agreements are giving U.S. businesses clarity about how much money they'll have to spend on tariffs. And we still have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, ducking off to Crisfield, we'll tell you how Mother Nature was no match for the annual Big Little Town Fest. Also, battle in the Bronx. Phil's attempt a comeback and a series sweep against the Yankees. And Beginner's Luck will tell you how one local's first offshore fishing trip turned into a new state record. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
6:38 on our Monday morning, seeing some ripples on the Indian River Bay on the Gutter Helmet Camp. 76 in Ocean View, seeing lots of sunshine, maybe a little bit of haze, and temperatures mild into the mid-70s, even upper 70s from Bethany Beach to Lewis, 75 in Georgetown, Delmar 74. Incredibly muggy, and it's going to be a muggy day. Anytime you see dew points in the 70s, that's the case. There is a light northerly breeze. We actually have a cold front coming through. Unfortunately, this cold front is not going to give us any relief from the heat and humidity, and it already zipped on through. It's still going to be hot and humid behind this front because there's really no air mass change. It's just going to get hotter in the days ahead. Golf forecast for today. Make sure you have a big jug of ice water. Try to stay away from the alcohol. 93, hot and humid. Feels like temperatures near 100, especially away from the coast. And our umbrella giveaway winner is Janet Kita from Marion, Maryland. Congratulations to Janet from Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling and Coast TV.
New this morning, nighttime closures are underway on Route 1 in Sussex County. According to DelDOT, crews are working on bridge inspections now until July 30th. This will include the bridges over the Mississippian River and the Lewis-Rehoboth Canal. The agency says to expect overnight lane closures from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Changes are occurring on the Georgetown-Lewis Trail. Those flashing pedestrian crossing signs on Sweetbriar Road, it's now converted to a standard push button. DelDOT advising trail users to push the button to activate the system and wait for the safe window to cross Sweetbriar Road. There are reminders along the trail in case you forget.
A new Maryland state record has been set for false albacore. The Maryland Department of Natural Resources announced that Jack Dorman of Mount Airy is the new state record holder for false albacore. He was fishing off of Ocean City on a charter boat, and it was his first offshore fishing trip. His 26-pound catch surpasses the previous record of 23.5 pounds that was set just 8 days before. Officials say that previous catch broke a 30-year record.
Phillies began Sunday just a half game behind the New York Mets in the National League East. And the Phils, they had the brooms out in the Big Apple, attempting to sweep their series against the New York Yankees. Phillies fans on hand Sunday afternoon. They got a chance to cheer early. Here it is, second inning. Nick Castellanos takes that Carlos Rodon changeup, takes it for a ride. Big fly for Nick. Phillies grab a 1-0 lead. Lead did not last. We go to the bottom of the frame. No out, bases loaded. Ryan McMahon goes down the right field line. Giancarlo Stanton scores. Jazz Chisholm Jr. scores. Yankees get 4 in the inning. It's a 4-3 game in the ninth, and Otto Kemp goes down swinging. That's your ball game, folks. No sweep for the Phils. They remain in second in the National League East, and now that deficit with the Mets' win last night is a game and a half. Big game for the Nationals. C.J. Abrams, a leadoff homer, 3 stolen bases. Nats take 2 out of 3 from the Twins over the weekend, and Tyler O'Neill homers for a 3rd straight game. Orioles get a series win at the Yards against the Rockies. NASCAR race, Brickyard 400. It's won by Bubba Wallace. This one is one of the marquee races on the schedule. Wallace drives for a team co-owned by all-time NBA great Michael Jordan and fellow driver Denny Hamlin. It's the 3rd win in Wallace's career and earns him a spot in the playoffs. Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network, 6:15 live Maryland Supreme League boys basketball. Then at 10:30, it's the final score. On the DSM Plus app, along with that basketball game at 3, you can get the USSSA Eastern National Softball Championships.
In entertainment news, the death of a heavy metal legend is not keeping him off of the music charts. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
Ozzy Osbourne fans are keeping his legacy alive. Osbourne died July 22nd at age 76. Now his 2003 compilation album, The Essential Ozzy Osbourne, has risen from number 134 on the Billboard 200 all the way to number 7. It's his 10th top 10 album and the first time that record has cracked the top 10. Its previous peak was number 81.
Really good.
Yeah, almost as good as a man.
A Bend It Like Beckham sequel is in the works. Deadline reports writer-director Gurinder Chadha says she's been toying with the idea for a couple of years as the popularity of women's football has soared worldwide, and she's excited to revisit the original characters and build on the film's legacy.
I tried to show him that wealth wouldn't solve all his problems.
And?
It seems to have solved most of his problems.
Keanu Reeves is an angel whose object lesson goes awry in Good Fortune. Writer-director Aziz Ansari is a struggling gig worker who switches places with a venture capitalist played by Seth Rogen. Good Fortune arrives in theaters October 17th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday. And here's what you can look forward to this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
We know that Mondays can be a little tricky, but that's where Coast Life comes in to brighten things up for you. You can tune in at 4 to check out, especially if you've been struggling maybe with your fitness journey, getting started, or maintaining. We've got the folks that can help you out.
Plus, all things pony swim today. We are going to be talking to Madeline Overturf. She's coming in to talk about the coverage we're going to have. Plus, we have somebody talking about that great book, Misty of Chincoteague, so you won't want to miss that.
Of course, and if you're expecting a baby or you're planning on starting a family and you've got questions, especially about breastfeeding, there's an event coming up that we've got all the details on. All that fun and more is happening today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
Beautiful sunrise out there on the Tyndall's Casual Furniture Cam. Maybe a little sputter on the lens there, but maybe a little bit of haze, a little bit of fog, but not a big deal. The big story, hot days ahead for Delmarva with 90s through Wednesday. Feels like temperatures in the triple digits. However, relief by the end of the week and especially into the weekend. I'll have your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 6:47 and we are taking a live look outside at Laurel this morning. And Bob, we see a beautiful sunrise there. It's almost too bright for our camera. We see that shining. That is some good news on a Monday morning. Love a sunny Monday morning.
You gotta love it. Yeah, I think it gets you in a better mood. You know, it's hard to get motivated on a Monday morning, but you know, we have the sunshine and it's gonna be hot as we go through the next few days. In fact, today through Wednesday, the 3 H's, hazy, hot, and humid, stifling heat indices, feeling like 100 today, maybe as hot as 110 as we go into your Wednesday, and lower 90s today and then mid 90s, maybe some upper 90s by Wednesday. So stay hydrated, find a nice cool place the next couple of days. Late week, it gets stormy with the cold front, big cool down, and looking great for the first weekend of August. Hard to believe, but yeah, it's coming up and looking good. 74 in Dagsboro, 75 in Millsboro, Salisbury right now 74, 76 in Lewis and Rehoboth, and we've got dew point temperatures in the low to mid 70s. That is tropical like, and that's really not going to change. Now the winds have shifted to the north. We actually had a cold front come through, but it was very weak. There's no air mass change behind that front, so we stay warm and humid as high pressure is over the top of us, and then that high will build both at the surface and aloft. A lot of sinking air, a lot of hot air all across the East Coast, and well, that will bring us very hot conditions right through Wednesday. Futurecast this morning has 70s and 80s, but then quickly warming into the mid 80s later this morning. 70s and 80s at the coast, and by noon already 90 in Long Neck, 87 in Lewis, 80 in Fenwick Island, with 91 in Salisbury, 89 into Georgetown, and then by 4 p.m. low 90s inland areas, even mid 90s around Salisbury, and lower 90s for Lewis back through Rehoboth. A little cooler as you go farther down the coast, as it's a very warm and muggy evening, and then through the overnight we're looking at clear skies and a muggy start tomorrow morning with temperatures in the low 70s, and then we crank up those temperatures just a little more into Tuesday afternoon with low to mid 90s and 80s and 90s at the coast, and pretty much the same on Wednesday. I think we're looking good for the pony swim early on. Temperatures in the 70s and dry conditions, and temperatures quickly rising. Look at this, by 2 p.m. 95 in Salisbury, 93 in Millsboro, a little cooler in Bethany Beach, 83, but 90s in Lewis, and feels like temperatures this afternoon close to 100 away from the coast, while it's 80s and low 90s right at the immediate coast. And by Tuesday afternoon, even worse, feeling like 102 to maybe 105, and then low to mid 90s at the beaches. Some real hot sand there. And then I think the worst of it comes Wednesday. I think we're feeling at least as hot as 105, maybe 108 at some places by Wednesday afternoon, maybe 110, and then feeling like mid 90s at the coast. What makes it miserable is the humidity. It's very humid through Thursday, and then look at this drop off into the comfy range Friday into Saturday as much drier air builds in. But I think we're looking at showers and storms increasing later Thursday into Friday, and then those showers clear out by Friday evening, and then it's gorgeous high pressure settling over us as we go into the first weekend of August. Low humidity and pleasant dew point temperatures. 93 in Harrington and Georgetown today. Also looking at low 90s for the Eastern Shore and Salisbury back through Pocomoke City in the low 90s. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. We do cool it down by Thursday with some storms, 88 degrees. Friday 79, and then comfortable 60s for lows into the weekend. Saturday 78, and by Sunday pleasant 81, mostly sunny with low humidity.
Thank you, Bob. Get this one, the world's largest rubber duck quacking again in Crisfield. The Big Little Town Fest returned to Wellington Beach this week. That is a summer staple that brings food, music, and families across the region. And the star of the show, a 61-foot tall rubber duck. There he is. It was finally inflated Saturday after strong winds prevented setup before the festival on Friday, and event organizers say they're excited. People got to see the fan favorite. Important to note here, Big Little Town Fest is hosted by the Friends of Crisfield.
The time is now 6:51, and we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
Not a rubber duck here, but it is a regular appearance dog on this segment of the newscast. It's Benny, everybody. You can see Benny embracing the heat that we've been experiencing. He's trying to stay cool. Looks cool in that shot.
He looks cool. I was going to say that.
Yeah. As always, Benny was submitted to us by Tammy in Seaford.
And of course, we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That's where the QR code is. Scan it, get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It's 6:54, and it's time for the things you need to know before you go. Billions of education dollars getting released, with some of it heading to Delaware. According to the Federal Department of Education, the money was previously withheld as a part of a spending review ordered by the White House. The move faced legal challenges, including a lawsuit Delaware and other states filed against it. The money was already approved by Congress and signed into law by President Trump earlier this year.
Vacationers continuing to enjoy the beach in Ocean City before the summer comes to an end, but according to the tourism report, most recent data through May, there's been a drop of nearly 250,000 people visiting the town. According to Tom Perlazzo, the Ocean City Tourism and Business Development Director, he says those numbers come from a third party, and according to their report, revenue for occupancy in Ocean City slightly increased compared to last May.
Later tonight, the possible finalization of the pay scale for Milford's fiscal year 2026. The range is nearly $36,500 to over $228,000. This is happening as we are nearly a month into the new fiscal year. The city manager position is listed at the top of the scale. Tonight's city council meeting is at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, check out this one. A new Maryland state record's been set for false albacore. Maryland DNR announcing that Jack Dorman, he's a Mount Airy, is the new state record holder for a false albacore. He was fishing off of Ocean City on a charter boat. It was his first offshore fishing trip, and look what he got. He got that 26-pound fish that surpasses the previous record of 23.5 pounds that was set 8 days prior. All right, let's get on to our final check of the weather.
Yes.
There's First Alert meteorologist Bob Trihey.
That was good-looking fish.
That's lucky. Your first time.
That is for sure. Maybe play the lottery.
I was just about to say that.
Our weather does not exactly hit the jackpot if you like it cool and dry. It's going to be hot and humid today as temperatures rise into the low 90s. The inland areas a little cooler at the beaches, and feels like temperatures by 3:30 close to 100 inland areas, and feeling like 80s and low 90s at the beaches. So you know the drill. Stay hydrated and find a nice cool place. Here's your Paul Davis 10-day forecast. It's hot right through Wednesday with mid 90s. Feels like temperatures maybe by Wednesday as high as 108, 110, and then relief by the end of the week. Some storms Thursday, 88. And then we start August cooler with showers on Friday, 79, and the first weekend of August is looking great. 78 Saturday, 81 on Sunday, overnight lows in the 60s, gorgeous, and then a gradual warm up into next week.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV Midday at 11.
And for even more news and coverage in Countdown, download our apps and have a great Monday morning, everybody.